Hello ladies and gents, I am Nadiffin, and welcome back to From the Depths, Ashes of the Empire Community Edition. In this episode I'm going to be utilising the same format as last episode, so a combination of live commentary and post-commentary. Also, just be aware, this is the second time I have recorded this episode, because the first time I managed to corrupt it and then lose my progress. So, utilising the designs this episode, first of all we have the ADEF Taipan. Basically because I've been using this so much as a testbed, killing things, I thought I might as well deploy one myself. Though this one is modified, it has simple lasers instead of the simple autocannons, and basically all the wood has been replaced by metal, and an extra layer of wood has been added inside to give additional protection against HESH, which is all well and good. And also things like the rear end here, it now has actual protection for the ammo storage. Otherwise, it's pretty similar, except for the big red line, which makes it go faster. And what fitting target but other than the Taipan as well. So, Taipan versus Taipan, and essentially the difference is this one, the new one, is more robust and has simple lasers, which technically is enough to AI dead it immediately, because simple lasers are really powerful, and this is faster and more heavily armoured, particularly around the track areas there. So, yep, very simple, quick win battle there. Next up we have the Burnstar Sledgehammer AA tank by Red the Rage. Now, this one I will say I have already made a slight modification, and that is adding on a couple of exhausts, because I noticed in the first time I was testing this, it just wasn't keeping up with the amount of, well, heat it was producing on the engine. It just kept on blowing the cylinders, and as soon as it blew the cylinders, it died because it stopped moving. It's quite quick, which is nice, so sending it against the Goth, as you can see it's moving quite quick, so as soon as it goes stationary, it just dies and nothing much happens. Just looking at the missiles here, it does seem to be having a little bit of difficulty tracking on to the missiles. So what is it actually utilising? They are using active radar seekers, so they should be able to focus in on things, but they just don't have a very amazing turning rate. So I think an AA tank, it's not so good at that, but as a land vehicle taking on land targets, I think it's going to be much more effective. Yeah, it's just going after the air units. The missiles aren't quite that effective, so let's just restart it, spawn it in and face it off against actually the Taipan. It hasn't got ejectors. I think that might be what the problem is. Let's try it a little bit further away. As you can see, the missiles are actually bouncing off them, being knocked off to the side, so they aren't being ejected out of the vehicle properly. I think one-on-one it's not going to be doing too well just because of that fact. And in fact, the Taipan's heat rounds, so it just blew up the turret instantaneously. I think in a force, the spread of missiles there will be fine, but one-on-one, just because the missiles being knocked sideways by the gantry, it isn't doing very well. Next up, we have a replacement by Mainfort, the Corrosion AA tank, which is very similar to the previous one, really, though in terms of style, but it's a much smaller round, an 18mm one this time. So we'll send this against the Wanda, or these two against the Wanda, and that is an incredible rate of fire. Just absolutely ridiculous there. One has already been disabled though by direct pram on it, and it is taking very minimal damage really, but I suppose at 18mm can't expect too much. The other one is back online now, and it is very fast, and look at it, just pelting shots through, just cutting a beam of blue, dark blue through the sky. And it's got a tracer, so it's not quite as visible as the Delta plan, but still. The pair of them are doing remarkably well against this Wander, considering they are so cheap. And I am in desperate need of more AA vehicles. I have plenty, but I also seem to be losing them at the same rate as I'm getting them. I'm getting a lot submitted as well, which is great. Next up, we have the M223 Heavy Artillery Resource Truck by Void. And when it says resource, it's essentially material, as in weapons and gear, rather than material as in items for construction. Well, I suppose it's construction, it's, yes, big guns construction. Let's send it against something Onyx watching. The Sentinel is a broadsiding vehicle, and it works very well going into the middle of a force, being able to fire simple lasers and broadside both sides, because when it's facing forwards or facing behind, only one set of the crams can fire, whereas broadside like this, both sets can fire, doing a good amount of damage. You can see here it's just exploding huge sections off the Sentinel here, which is a very tanky design, like basically all the Onyx Watch designs. And there we go. Rather quickly, Resource Tank has gone and completely annihilated it. Simple lasers working well in tandem close in. In fact, I'm interested to see what this is like against a group of Dustwind Gypsies. So Dustwind Gypsies sent it against the Copperhead, the Taipan, the King Cobra, and a Sand Viper. So yeah, Cram fires, destroys one target. The other crams fire, destroy another target. Simple lasers beaming around. Has good spread of shields, which is helping prevent a lot of damage. Front two cram fired, hitting that one, but it looks like the rear cram has been popped by some internal, yeah. Looks like either the heat or fragmentation's penetrated through there. They're still doing rather well, despite having one turret's popped, which is a bit unfortunate, I guess. I'm just managed to shoot itself with the cram. Nice. Two crams still operational, and it has a very, very robust design, but I think facing off against all these targets on its own was a little bit of a mistake, but in a combined force, this will do incredibly well. And it is still winning, and I think it would eventually win against this group of tanks. It was quite unfortunate losing one of its main guns so early on in the bout. But then it's taken retaliation against Taipan, that's no threat. And all that's left is this tank here, which if it scores a hit near the turret, that's going to explode. Like that. There we go, the turret's dead, and yep, you are no threat there. Firing a little gun, but you are in a death spiral. The simple lasers can actually hit you, particularly when they knock off all the wheels. So yes, you actually still win. Fantastic. And the last design we have is actually just a resource fuel tanker by Tostov, Tanterol. And it's just, yeah, it just carries a lot of fuel, and I mean a lot of fuel. And this is going to be really useful because I have been having a little bit of problem transporting fuel around, i.e. I haven't been. And since I do want to change to localized resources from the current centralized, things like this are going to be a little bit more useful. Though this is useful in any case because fuel is not transferred centrally. But that's about it. It's going to be sitting out of play most of the time, but so nice to show it off as it is now. I hope to never spawn this in a battle. But it does have props, so it can go across water and probably float in nature as well. So, very nice. But let's just see how they all perform in the campaign proper. Right then, so actually into the campaign again. And the force are moving up. So we have the second community. I actually gonna need to rename these again. They keep being not renamed. So second, I'm just gonna rename it the second. So the third community here is gonna move up and attack this tile. And this is where I'm going to spawn in the new forces, though. I'm going to wait till they're a little bit closer to the tile before I do so, because I know at least one of the new vehicles is limited to 3 meters per second due to how the blueprint was saved. I think it was the Taipan actually. I kind of messed it up. Thus, because of that, I don't want to be moving all the way up this tile at 3 meters per second, much like this group up here, which just hasn't had a chance to do anything. And actually, let's go to the Fractured Panzer and then go and update its spawn, because I kind of broke the spawner. Yep, there we go. We'll now actually spawn in the correct things. There we go. Well, that means that that will now actually spawn its mini nukes in, which is kind of important for it to be a functional craft. So just remember to repair the refineries as well, since the refineries had actually been set to repair. So the Hall is going over to build them up, but they hadn't actually been set to do so themselves. Bit of an issue. Okay, so the third community force is probably a little bit, probably close as I want them to be. So let's jump on this and then spawn in the new designs. So I've spawned the tanker as its separate force so that it can then actually supply fuel where is needed. Actually, this force is getting a little bit low on fuel. That's going to be a bit of an issue. It should be fine though for at least one more battle. I've probably just jinxed myself, haven't I? Right, so this force is getting ready to go. Facing a Lux and one of the skyscrapers. So let's go into this battle. Basically straight away, I think. Right, so the battle begins. And immediately there's a huge amount of laser and particle accelerated fire, and oh, I kind of spawned the Panther Fort right at the very front. That was completely by mistake. I didn't notice where it was, as was the Heavy Hawk actually. Oh dear, and that is getting shot by the laser tower, while the Panther Fort is getting completely murdered by the Lux. It doesn't look like it's going to survive too well. Thankfully though, the Lux is getting completely hammered by a load of other missiles, but the Heavy Hawk being shot by the simple laser of that bloomin' wisp. Oh, and a nuke does detonate, so the Jag Panther thing is actually launching its nuke lure drones, which is good. Simple lasers just completely wrecking through the E50 there, doing horrific amounts of damage. It's so powerful. And then the Lux deciding to take it out on all of these tanks, which have kind of crashed into each other. Just checking the health of them there. So it's doing quite well, but we have taken a good amount of damage. Things like the Panther 4 there, looking really worse for the wear. The vehicles are moving forwards. Things like the Predator Annihilator there is getting a bit closer and losing quite a bit of itself. And they're getting struck by Particle Accelerator as it moves in to try and take out some other drones, but it does make it a bit of a threat for the Lux. Still, some good position, a little bit closer for its damage barrels to hit. The Lux has taken a lot of damage now, but is still actually operational. It is a remarkably resilient design. Looking at some of the health of the designs there, as I noticed the stake has a shot blast through it, and it begins to fall out of the sky. It's taken hits like that before and hasn't destabilised, so this is quite a nasty one. Yeah, so looking there, quite a bit of things are quite badly damaged. So a lot of lightning hoods are actually upside down. The Uma though is also looking quite bad. But quite a lot of things are actually looking really quite heavily damaged here, which is not good. And yeah, I just watched this in awe as the wooden medic tries to repair a nuke drone it's flying next to. It's like, I was kind of waiting for it to explode and kill it. It didn't actually happen, but yeah, I was watching it, that's going to explode, that's going to explode, that's going to explode. Though, unfortunately, the wooden medic is actually getting struck at. One of the E50s there is getting completely murdered, but the wooden medic is right nearby, keeping it alive. The only thing that's really heavy damage is the impulse, which are the nukes. Just speeding up a little bit faster here, just because the battle was dragging out for quite a while at this point. Most enemies are dead, but things are progressing slowly. Unfortunately, the Wisp decides that it likes the look of that wooden medic, and it's knocked out the sky. It's also around about this point that I realise that my fuel is low, and that I jinxed myself by saying that I wasn't going to run out of fuel. I checked, and as you can see, basically everything is out of fuel. And so I kind of panic a little bit, looking at what on earth's going to do. The medic's going down, let's stop the fairing, and it's now actually too damaged. So I've got to get fuel. So I just pop over to a vehicle and just slam on a load of fuel storage boxes, and then sell them all. Because everything is joined together in a force, so it goes together. Jump out of the stake here, head towards the tower to capture it, and just observe the nice pretty sky. Nice stars, the sunrise, and jump on it, waiting for the AI to be deaded. Just observing some of the nearby battles. And just look at some of the casualties showing up. Some of the E50s there severely damaged. And the map breaks. Odd. Again, just looking at the battle, it's like the AI is really heavily protected, so I decide, you know what, let's go capture this Zeus nearby. So I jump in, get thrown around a little bit by my own explosions, which is a bit odd, but there we go. Eventually I do find the AI and capture it. Just as the tower I was standing in becomes AI dead. So I miss out on over twice as many resources. Still, that is the end of the battle there. It's still a victory, nevertheless. Okay, battle is finished. And that was a rather nasty battle. Lost a lot of forces there. And annoyingly, did not capture that thing. I'm going to capture the Zeus, and yeah. And then let's go through. So one of the E50s is down. The Wood Medic is destroyed, unfortunately. LG-1DC light tank also destroyed. Both Jeopards are destroyed. And a load of the impulses, which should be expected since they are nukes being spawned in combat. So yeah, that's rather painful. Almost lost a load more. So quite a nasty bout there. Right, and then let us continue on towards the next battles. Like to face off with this force, and also the first community force, which, on the second community force, did the first community, I'm actually going to get rid of the rolling crampage Gatling, because it's basically been too effective. It just absorbs too much damage, and I prefer battles like this one, where basically everything has a chance to die. It's makes it much more lively, watching all the vehicles die rather than just steamrolling everything. Okay, so the second community force is ready to go into combat. Actually, what are we interested in? I've kind of forgotten what vehicles. So, we're looking at the ARA class fighter, the Metal Gear, the Smolderer, Tank 2 and Tenderizer. Keep an eye out for all of those designs in this fight. Let us go and begin this battle. So the next battle begins. Straight away, a large number of missiles and particle accelerators and simple lasers. The simple lasers crossing over at one of the Burnstar tanks, detonating all the ERA there, making a very big graphical glitch, as it is almost one-shotted by all of those lasers. And doesn't help that one of the AA tanks rams into it. Speaking of rams, let's follow the tenderizer as it makes its way towards the enemy. Slowly but surely heading towards it, but one of the Wisps decides that it wants to slow it down, firing its simple lasers at the rear, removing a load of those jets. Still, the tenderizer is closing in, but it loses some of its turning capability and just misses its mark, which is a bit of a shame, because with all those targets firing at it, it's unlikely to get another attempt at this battle. And I get hit. Really annoying. I really wish there was a way to remove that oil thing. There probably is in mods. Let's just go and observe the new vehicles. Tank 2 doesn't seem to be doing much. Smolderer is just taking all the hits, as is Metal Gear. Metal Gear seems to have been disabled. It's firing a little bit, but nothing major. I'm just trying to find out what on earth the AIA class heavy fighter is doing, and it's flying off in the distance and not really seems to be participating much, apart from a lot of missiles are flying out towards it and missing. The other tanks are doing a good job, but just generally fighting out. A load of the Lightning Hood designs are pretty damaged at this point, so it's a bit of a clean-up. So I thought, you know what, it's a bit of a clean-up, let's go and try and capture something, because, well, I usually do this faster than waiting for the AI to capture it all for me. So just jump in. I know roughly where the AI is. It takes only a short moment to get in, or at least try, as I get myself launched out with my own grenades. And then just find the AI core and again launch myself out. Eventually I get shot and killed. I don't capture, I get killed. Well, as you can see, the green tracers from the Tank 2 firing hasn't been firing for quite a while, which is a bit irritating. Still, the remaining Lightning Hoods are pretty limited and far between. Only 3-4 designs at this point left alive. I couldn't actually check due to the map breaking again. This episode was plagued with errors. Ended up recording for way over 3 times as long. Again, a little bit of a time skip, just because basically nothing happened. I tried to capture some more things. A load of enemies just keep on fighting. You get pushed along a little bit, but it's essentially trying to speed up the battle here. As this tank is disabled, but it's just not getting shot at. Just trying to jump in. And it is destabilized a little bit there, and it disintegrates. This leaves a couple of planes remaining. So there's this one, which is about to be destroyed, and then there is another one. A one which is flying away at quite a pace. And that is going to be a real irritation, because all my vehicles are nicely alive, and then this plane is somewhere. It's been damaged and is flying in a straight line. And there it is. Right, so it's ridiculously far away. It's kind of off into the sea somewhere. If I end the battle though, I will take everything as a casualty, which is ridiculous. I've got to hope that some of my forces will actually be able to catch up with that broken Lightning Hood's design. We'll be back once that happens. There it is eventually. This was so annoying. It started off at like 11-12 kilometers, and now it's slowly but surely, I've got the AI coming towards it, but it was getting further and further away constantly, travelling at 74 meters per second, and it was just able to keep up with it. It was 20 plus kilometers away. think it ends up at 25 kilometers. I do say in a moment, but yeah, it is crazy, and I'm glad these missiles strike and kill it in one go. And there we go, at last, it is AI dead. That took a ridiculous length of time to catch up with that. It's 25 kilometers away from the rest of my forces. Just look at it! It's all the way over here. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Look, I started here. I'm over here now. Sometimes it infuriates me. No, with that battle finished, let's go and take on with the third community force. Right, did I actually take any casualties? No, I didn't take any casualties. Well, I lost the tenderizer, but I knew about that one. Oh, the Burn Starlight tank did get destroyed, so sorry you get eliminated as well. And the Thunderbolt as well died. Oh, sorry. I did take casualties. Sorry about that. And let's get over to this bout over here. Oh, well, the laser emplacements decided to go for battle. Okay, fine. I guess. Let's see how quickly I last or not last. Yep, it's one of the laser battles. Is there really any point in me recording these anymore? I think I'll just skip it. You know how it goes. I completely wipe the floor with them, don't I? Sometimes it looks pretty. If I change the lineup here, I will show it again, but not much point at the moment. Right then, let's finally jump over to the third community force. Move it up, and then let's go attack this Lightning Hoods group, and hopefully they won't go 25 kilometers away and make the battle last about an hour. Right, let's go. Bad weather, that's annoying, but let's go regardless. Yeah, bad weather is really annoying. It looks quite pretty here, but you can't tell what or where anything is. So you've got the resource tank taking a lot of the hits to start with, mainly because it's got a lot of guns. But it does have a good amount of defences. Massive array of particle accelerators and laser fire shooting at the remnants of the helicopter force by Monk Lizard. Now, just managed to skim past the worst of those missiles, but it hasn't taken as much damage as I thought. Taipan moving forward, firing in all directions with its simple lasers. As it looks like the turret just got popped there, which is a bit of a pain, but there we go. Dustplan moving in, really easy to trace where that is, following no other than the tracers. All pinging off into the sky, but it's so obvious. And there's the dark blue ones from the New Corrosion AAs. Doesn't seem to have done too much damage because of all the shielding there, but there is a lot of shells going around and they might be causing despawning, which is a bit of a pain. Oh yeah, the Taipan did lose its turret. But again, a lot of Lightning Hood's designs have already been flipped over. As soon as they take a little bit of damage, they just seem to flip over onto their back, and then they're a lot less of a threat when that occurs. The helicopters, though, still not doing particularly well, kind of drifting around in circles, but still not too much of a danger at the moment of being killed. And the tower is disintegrating there. Taipan's doing quite a good job there. Yeah, it's just a more robust version. Yeah, just checking the health of everything, and it's closing down to the end of the battle, really. It's mostly just clean up. See, so many designs have already fallen over. Just ramming into things. The Taipan does have rams at the front, so it's almost effective. Of course, it would do better to repair his gun, but, you know. And there we go, I think that's the last one. Yep, that's it over. And there we go! Last of this Lightning Hood's vehicles has been defeated. Excellent. Battle is finished. We'll pull all. Did I take any casualties in this one? Didn't think I did. Nope, everything was fine. And that's probably going to be it for this episode. So, it's been a bit of a messy one. It's actually, the game's crashed 4 times, so I'm actually going to save again before I forget. It's crashed quite a number of times. I think it's all been lure based, which is a bit irritating because I do kind of want to be using the lure designs, but if I'm in conflicts with it, I am going to have to stop utilising it. Still, for the moment, I'm going to keep the designs in and carry on. So, thank you very much for watching this episode of From the Depths, Ashes of the Empire Community Edition with myself and Diffin. If you did enjoy the episode, please leave a like and or comment below, as it is always great to hear from you lot. Also, be sure to check out the rest of my channel for more From the Depths videos and other games, and be sure to swing by my Discord channel to see and have a more direct chat. Otherwise, that's it for me for now, and I shall see you next time. But until then, I'm out. Goodbye!